You have to understand why you're going through the period that's causing you to make you want to give up. See, the devil has one mission, is to rob you of your destiny. If he can get you to give up, you have been robbed of your destiny. If he gets you to never follow your dream, he robs you of your destiny.
Here's the key. Whatever you feed is going to grow. If you're always feeding negative thoughts, you're feeding doubt, feeding mediocrity, feeding fear. If you feed fear, it's going to become larger. What if you spent that same energy feeding your dreams? What are you allowing in your spirit?
Your brain doesn't want you to be a big success. Your brain just wants to keep you alive. All your brain wants you to do is just pump out 1 or 2 kids so the DNA can continue on. That's it. Your brain will trick you. You are your own worst enemy.
You're telling the enemy how you feel has nothing to do with what you know. And if you're going to deal with a knower, never approach a knower with feelings. You got to approach a knower with facts. The enemy wants to cut off your head and leave you with feelings. Real decisions that move your life along are not coming out of your emotions, they're coming out of your head. Real opportunities that God would open up for you have to come out of your head and not out of your feelings.
Falling one time is not a failure. It's the start of your journey. The pain of failing is temporary. It will not last. No matter how many times you get knocked down, you get up again.
You have to act on your passion. You have to act on your inner drive. Don't let those feelings stay inside of you. You got to know what to do with them. You got to know how to make them work in order to get what you want. Don't keep it inside.
Some days I win. Some days I don't. But each and every day, I get back up and I move forward with my fists clenched toward the battle, toward the struggle. And I fight with everything I've got to overcome those weaknesses and those shortfalls and those flaws.
Every time I do something that is hard, every time I do something that other people wouldn't do, I'm building the strength of my mental discipline to move forward regardless of the external circumstances in our lives.
All men are created equal. Some work harder. Some of us just grind. Some of us don't make excuses. Some of us don't surrender. Some of us don't give up and give in. What we do with the pressure is we say, I gotta take it, and I gotta take it to another level.
I'm going to teach you a word that's going to get you out of the problem of what happens when you ask for something and people say no. And this one word, if you knew this word and you learned it and you used it, can actually get you anything you want in life. And here's the word. It's very simple. When someone says no to you, what I want you to say to yourself real loud inside your head is the word next. Let's just practice that. So if I say no, what are you going to say? Next. Absolutely. One more time. No. Next. Now, what does that mean? Ask somebody else. Absolutely. How many people live on the planet? 5 billion people. Someone wants to do what you want to do. Someone wants to get involved in your dreams. Someone wants to support you. You might have to ask a lot of people. Remember, ask. So when they say no, you say next. And here's another clue most people don't realize. If you ask somebody and they say no, does that mean you can never come back and ask them again? No. Little kids are so good at it. Mommy, can I go to the store with you? No. Oh, come on, Mom, please let me go to the store with you. They go away. Mom, you are going to let me go to the store with you. And they wear you down, you know. So that's another thing you can, next time can be, right? So don't let no stop you. No just means get creative, get going. Now, what stops people from asking? What stops people from doing? It's something called fear. We're all afraid. We're afraid we're going to look stupid. We're afraid we're going to get rejected. I love this person who did the acronym FVAR, stands for fantasized experiences appearing real, or false evidence appearing real. Because when you close your eyes and you fantasize something like you're not going to be able to pay your bills, or they're going to take your house, or you're going to flunk out of school, then your body reacts like it's real. I was flying to Orlando in a plane not too long ago, and this woman was sitting next to me, and as we took off, she started like lifting herself out of the seat. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm making myself lighter so the plane will take off." Now, I knew we'd had a failure in American physics education, right? And I also noticed her knuckles were all white, and I said, "Are you a little afraid?" She says, "Yeah, I guess I am." I said, "Well, we're headed to Orlando. I guess that's where I'm going. You're going?" She says, "Yeah." I said, "Where are you going down there?" So I'm going to Disney World to visit my children. They're going to be there, and my grandchildren. I said, "Well, close your eyes for a second. Indulge me. I'm a psychologist." She said, "Okay." So she closed her eyes. I said, "What are you imagining right now?" She said, "Well, I see the plane blowing up in a fireball at the end of the runway." I said, "Well, no wonder you're scared. You know, this would make anyone crazy." And so then I had her close her eyes and imagine being at Disney World. And I said, "What's your favorite attraction?" She said, "It's a small world." So I said, "Imagine you're in the little thing and you're going through It's a Small World and all the little people are dancing and singing." I actually started going, "It's a small world." And all of a sudden she relaxed, her breathing deepened. And this was what was so powerful. Nothing outside of her had changed. We're on the same plane going down the same runway. But what she changed was her response. She started visualizing a positive outcome rather than a negative outcome. And her physiology reacted. Same thing we've been talking about all along. Now let's look at this fear. The biggest fear I think that stops most people from asking is the fear of what? Rejection. So let's say that I ask, "What's your name?" I go over to Susan. I say, "Susan, would you have dinner with me tonight?" And let's say she says no. I go, "Oh." Everyone goes, "Oh, Jack's been rejected. It's so sad." But let's look at it objectively. Did I have anyone to eat dinner with before I asked her? Did I have anyone to eat dinner with after I asked her? Did my life really get worse? No. Stayed the same, right? If I apply to Harvard and don't get in, wasn't in Harvard before I applied, I'm not in Harvard after I applied. And most of you have spent your whole life not going to Harvard and survived just fine, right? So it's not a big deal.
But of course it will have differences in choice, of course, because we are human beings. But I can't see why it differs between me and Skavlan, for instance. But of course it differs in biological things, but not in choices, because I think more how we raise them, how we live, education, a sort of culture, attitudes form a human being. Whether or not they are a girl or a boy when they grow up. Mm-hmm. And if I raise my daughter to become a leader, to be self-confident, to have a high education, for instance, I think she will have a good platform to become a civil engineer, to become a CEO of a company, or to become a nurse.
Well, that is what people who think that the differences between people who are primarily culturally constructed believe. But it's not what the evidence suggests.
Okay, we don't agree on that.
No, but the other thing I should say about this, what's necessary to understand about this is not a contentious issue among informed scientists. We've known this for 25 years. And so, and it's a perverse effect. No one expected it.
Why do you talk then about chaos? Mm-hmm. I mean, is what we're experiencing now chaos? Your book is called An Antidote to Chaos. Mm-hmm. What is the chaos?
Well, I think the chaos is the uncertainty that so many people feel about the meaning of life and about their position in the world. That's fundamentally what I was aiming at. And what I'm trying to do in my online lectures and with my book is to provide people with a guideline to meaning. So one of the points that I make in my lectures, for example, is that we actually have a biological instinct for meaning that orients us in the world. And that instinct manifests itself when we place ourselves in a position in the world where we're competent, where what we're doing is working, so that we're not too terrified and anxious, but also while we're simultaneously advancing ourselves and improving our ability to cope with the world. So, for example, if you watch an athlete, a high-level athlete, who's at the peak of his or her performance. You see someone who's extraordinarily practiced at what they're doing and has developed the expertise necessary to do it. But then you also see them push themselves on that developmental edge to make themselves just that much better. And that function is associated with an intrinsic sense of meaning. And whenever you see anyone manifest that, you are automatically drawn to it. You see that when an actor pushes him or herself beyond their limits. You see that when someone speaks extemporaneously and manages it extraordinarily well. And I'm trying to help people understand that this meaning is a true phenomenon. It's not a secondary thing. And also to point out that most of the time that meaning is associated with the adoption of responsibility, which is also something that people don't understand.